Sri Lanka is set to go for polls to elect the next parliament on the 5th of August. With the threat of COVID-19 still somewhat lingering, there will be increased online election-related activity in the lead-up to the polls. But there are some concerns. Moving certain aspects of an election to a digital platform comes with added risks. Cybersecurity professional Waidyalankara believes that people might be at risk of their decision-making process being manipulated by or on certain social media platforms when it comes to voting. He aired his concerns during a discussion with Indeewari Amuwatte on our current affairs program at HydePark today.
Elections around the corner. We are talking about campaigning online, but also there were revelations how Facebook, our user trends, were incorporated into manipulating people into voting. How do we users, social media users, pay attention to this?
This is something that has been cropping up time and time again, especially the main culprit has been Facebook, where there's so many instances of fake news, inaccurate information, and information that is not fact-checked, making rounds in social media, and because of that causing chaos and harm. This is specifically important in a election setting simply because if you are basically putting out a certain viewpoint and that is factually inaccurate or fake, and there is no way to for a third party to moderate that and mark that as inaccurate, there will be a set of people who will believe that and share that widely, because that's how Facebook works. Facebook essentially builds its model on gathering the biases and preferences of people. They say that Facebook currently has about 6,500 data points on you. What I mean by data point is age, sex, meal preference, so on and so forth. But then they have a personalized level. Now, for example, are you a dog person or a cat person? On its own, very innocent. You might ask, Asela, what do you mean? Me liking dogs and elections, what does it have in common? But interestingly, they've developed algorithms, especially Facebook has developed algorithms where it clusters you together based on your preferences, based on your personality, on certain types. And very quickly people found out, this was first evident in President Obama's campaign in 2008, where social media was used heavily, and it reached its zenith in 2016. They realized that once you know a person's preferences, biases, fears, and every other thing that can affect your decision making, you can be taken on a certain way when it comes to shaping your view on information. This is what exactly happened in 2016. There was a recent study that they found that people who like Harry Potter are more likely to vote Democrat than Republican. So suddenly you have a situation where you have an innocuous piece of data where they tie that into a political line or a political campaign, where you can actually target an ad to a person who has a preference to that, and most likely you will vote a certain way. And that is what has been manipulated and weaponized when it comes to Facebook. And Facebook, I mean, there are so many studies, so many governments that have found it in fault. UN has done a study in 2018 in Myanmar that had found Facebook is responsible for fake information and spreading fake news and hate and so on and so forth. So many, Singapore, UK, EU, the US Congress pulled up Facebook and questioned them on their practices, and it was found wanting because of the very hands-off approach on the truth. And this is why it's very important for elections, because you might actually come out with a scenario that is completely devoid of the truth, but it might gain traction. Let me give you a very good example. In last year's elections, Sri Lankan elections, there was a video that was circulating purportedly to be the State Department, where it said the current president was still a citizen of the United States. That was a fake video, what we call a deep fake, where it was manipulated in such a way. Now, Facebook at no point made no effort to take this video down. This video had a lot of traction until it was disproved by mainstream media that this was indeed fake video. And that is the kind of danger you have, specifically if you're moving your elections to a digital setting, that this type of fake news, manipulation, weaponizing of information, taking information and presenting it a different way, could be really harmful in terms of the voter. And also, Facebook is very good at creating something called thought bubbles. Basically, if you have a certain degree of likes and dislikes, you're clumped together, and most likely your feed will always show you things that reinforce that view. Psychologists have found when you're shown something that you agree with constantly over and over again, you tend to be extreme in your views. And this is why we are going to have all this friction online, where there's so much of friction between people who have two different points of view.